It is rare that cameras get a look inside the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office, but for this KSAT Explains, our team did.
Death is part of the job there. Sometimes answering how a person died is the easy part. Finding out who that person is can be much harder.
And today we're talking one-on-one with the chief medical examiner and chief investigator there about some of the mystery surrounding what they do and unidentified remains.
You're the last physician that a patient's going to see.
Dr. Kimberly Molina deals with death, but that's not how she would describe this job.
I would say we actually do what we do for the living, which I think a lot of people don't understand.
The living, those left behind and left with questions. But there are often questions about what happens here. What does it mean when someone dies and ends up in the care of the medical examiner's office?
The most common preconception that people have is that if someone comes to our office, if the death falls under our jurisdiction, they think immediately, oh, they think someone killed them, that it's a homicide, that all we do here are homicides. And we do homicides here, that is our jurisdiction. But our jurisdiction is actually any unnatural death. So car accidents, people who fall down and maybe hit their heads, or cases where we just don't know.
They may not be under doctor's care, may not have significant medical history.
Nicole Healy is chief investigator for the medical examiner's office.
Investigation section were the eyes and ears of the doctors, the actual forensic pathologists at the scenes.
She and her team respond to the scene of a death. Law enforcement may investigate if someone died as the result of a crime. She wants to know why they died.
It's number one, why did the person die, but then also, who are they?
Unfortunately, it does happen where cases take, weeks, months, even years for us to really figure out what happened.
Had they ever been fingerprinted? We'll run fingerprints. Or do you know who their dentist is? Yes, they were seen here.
We can take x-rays and see if they have sort of any implanted hardware, for instance, a pacemaker, or maybe they've had a hip replacement. And try to track people down that way. We can actually contact the manufacturer of these devices and ask them to assist us as to what hospital did you send this to? What date was it manufactured? What date was it implanted?
People sometimes will have tattoos that will say who they are, at least give us family members.
What happens if you hit a dead end, if none of those options work?
Currently working probably 20 active cases within the past 10 years.
20 people whose names the medical examiner's office does not know, but is still working to find out. So they turn to the internet.
On May 29th, 2021, the body of an unidentified man was discovered in the 8,900 block of Mission Road in San Antonio.
This spring, the medical examiner's office redesigned its website, highlighting those unidentified cases, sharing what is known about the person.
He was 5 foot 8 inches tall and weighed about 140 pounds. He had a tattoo on his upper left arm showing a flag, heart, and a ribbon.
This is another tool in our toolbox that we didn't have 20 years ago, right? 10 years ago. Now we have it, let's use it.
Each case includes a forensic sketch of what it's believed that person looked like. These forensic artists are not necessarily looking at a face when they are drawing these sketches. They have to put together details that may not be there.
Absolutely. It's going to be case by case. Sometimes they could do a sketch. Sometimes they go into even more forensic artwork where they're just getting details, information, molds, and going from there.
It's those unidentified cases that so often stick with this team.
Even if you have the cause and manner of death, even if you could provide closure to family, you don't even have the family to provide the closure to.
An extraordinary effort to identify remains came in June, when 53 migrants died after being trapped in the back of a sweltering 18-wheeler. The medical examiner's office worked with consulates from Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala to identify those who passed. And just a month before that, the horrific shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's office again was tasked with responding in the aftermath of that tragedy. Doctors from other parts of the state were called in to help.
When people come into our care, there's not a choice, right? The families don't actually have a choice. There's some part of the mandate, the legal mandate, that has brought them into our care. We absolutely want to make sure that families understand that we are going to treat their loved ones with dignity, with respect. We're going to get the answers that they deserve.
Even if in some cases it takes years.
This is someone's loved one, their son, their mother, their daughter. They have a name now. This is our day at the office. This is what we do. But each call, it's that family's worst day of their life.
I don't think we see the death all day. We see the living.
And you can find information on unidentified cases right now by going to bear.org/unidentified. That's where you can see those forensic sketches and information on what is known about that person. We have that link and this story on our website. You can find it by scanning this QR code that will take you to the KSAT Explains webpage.